de creatividad.
I think a lot about the difference between aestheticizing politics and politicizing aesthetics. In the first case, aestheticizing politics, we see a lot of examples of this, where art can function as design or as a symbol or a form to galvanize a community or a culture, to recruit people, to keep energy up and spirits high, to express a politics functioning as branding or even publicity. Politicizing aesthetics. And this is where we think about ascribing a politics to aesthetics, taking a look at the symbols, stories, events, and history that exist, that are within the cultural consciousness, and intervening upon them.
The Infernal Noise Brigade was started around the time of the Seattle World Trade Organization meeting. It was an obvious idea. It wasn't like something that you had to be really creative to come up with, in that there was a movement that was growing. It needed a soundtrack. We were a 25-piece music unit to provide soundtrack for insurrections on the street, for manifestations, and for protests. Mostly drums, but also with horns and voice, and megaphones and noise, to direct and move crowds and inspire people to be like the gasoline on the fire. In the end, it is music. So it's not as if we had a specific agreement between us in the group, an aesthetic. We would not promote words in particular. We had flags, but they didn't have any words on them. We had music, but they were specifically unintelligible lyrics, and most of it instrumental. The idea was that we would create something relatively neutral that could work with a lot of different social movements, but which was music in the end, which is an art.
But artivism really, I think at its best, takes the sort of aesthetics of art and applies them to the practices of politics.
Muchas de estas prácticas utilizan como táctica el humor, porque saben que no hay remedio como la risa, y porque no hay remedio, coño.
And that was an idea of mixing clowning, the ancient art of clowning, so not just dressing up as a clown, but learning to find your own inner clown, to find the kind of character that was always able to be spontaneous, that was always playful, but that was also always disobedient. And to get activists to find that character within themselves, and then to mix that with civil disobedience and actually go and do acts of civil disobedience, like closing down army recruitment centres as a clown army. And that was a thing that we developed here and then grew and became a kind of lots of different clown army groups around the world. And it involved trainings, it involved touring. We toured with kind of caravans and recruited lots of people in the clown army. And the police never really knew how to deal with it because they were used to confrontation, but they weren't really used to that kind of subverting that kind of way of using ridicule and mockery. And authority doesn't like ridicule and mockery. They find it very hard to deal with. So you had situations where you had clowns in a riot situation would go up to the riot shields and kiss the riot shield with makeup and put lipstick and kiss and cover the riot shields in makeup. And again, the clown army was about the body. It was again about how do you change the way your body works, but also how do you change the way your head works and your mind and thinking about disobedience. And in clowning, you really do enter a kind of different kind of headspace as well, and that's just as important. Practices where you work with lots of people who don't define themselves as artists is where you really actually open up spaces where everyone feels their own creative potential, feels their own ability to be creative, and then also their own ability to be disobedient.
Arte político es una etiqueta cómoda en cierto sentido, pero no explica mucho. El aspecto político del arte, o el aspecto que a mí me parece interesante, es el aspecto de trabajo colectivo. Que una idea, una historia se convierta en algo que un montón de gente asume como propia.
No se trata de crear un mundo nuevo, un mundo que un día vamos a conquistar, un mañana mejor. No va de eso. Llevar a cabo estas prácticas significa de alguna manera reapropiarte de tu vida, abrir un agujero en tu vida, hacer que tu vida signifique otra cosa. Hoy, ahora, en este momento.
There are more properties in Manhattan alone than the entire homeless population in all 5 boroughs of New York City. So we wanted to elevate that as an issue and also tease out some other aspects. In this area in East Harlem, there was a vacant lot that was fenced off for decades and bank-owned. So we decided to cut the fence and install a tent city and take over the lot. In order to do so, we costumed as a film production crew shooting a music video. And that was to give us an excuse to have this backdrop where it looked like we were where we belonged, and in the meantime we were cutting the fence in the background and moving in this set that ultimately actually was an occupation, a tent city occupation of the lot.
No. I told you, and I gave you this one, and I tell you something. You don't tell me you want to open it. I don't care how many times you want to be here. You don't have the right to open this over here. I want to call the police right now.
So we were successful in moving in about 100 people that day and taking over the space and garnering a lot of media coverage.
Always acts on the territory of the opponent or of the enemy, if you want. They don't have their own space. They don't own a space, but they take over for a while. They have a brief attack and often successful, but then they disappear again, just to turn up in another place again.
La expresión, la novedad, la experimentación en las formas es un valor. El proceso está guiado por la curiosidad y el deseo.
Right, so this is a game that people can play in a big shopping centre, and you choose a product, perhaps that you want people to target, and it's like a playground game, the sort of game that you play when you chase people. So we have a team of people who are playing, and the other people are the catchers and the chasers. And what we did, we chose a product that was eye makeup. And it was sold by a company that was calling the names of their product around the themes of war. So the eyeshadow was called things like Go Army, and the lipstick was called Asphyxia. Now, at the time, I found this really offensive because we'd only just gone to war in Iraq. And I thought, this is really bad, like making a really attractive product and trying to sell it to teenagers, but at the same time theming it on themes of war and destruction. So there were people in the store and they were putting on the eyeshadow and they were putting it on like camouflage, and they had to camouflage their whole faces up with eye makeup. Now, of course, this isn't a problem because they're all testers and it's there for free. But the guy in the store was saying, hey, you can't do that. That's the wrong way to put it on. But people camouflaged up, and then they had to run out of the store and get back to base without being caught. And there were a team of people in the street trying to catch them. If they got caught, we had like a fake army soldier, and he would put bags on the heads of the people that had been caught, and they were bagged and tagged up. And it created a real spectacle. And it's in a city where there's a lot of kids who are recruited to join the army, a lot of working class kids. And so they were like quite critical, saying, hey, what's this about? And people really did stop shopping. And then they said, we want to do it. So we didn't expect this, but like we were able to play the game again.
I saw you go past the one. Run! I only made it like, I don't know, 100 yards, not even that.
It's not about me as an artist saying, hey, look at me, I do all these things, aren't I cool? It's about saying to other people, you can do this, you can be an artist. It's just a label, anybody can wear it.
Being an activist can often